Yes, I know. It's another Yaesu FTX-1 video. Most of the videos I've seen came out very early on, as soon as we got the Yaesu promotional material. I've not actually seen anyone as yet go through the user manual for this radio. And I've got a few notes here, a few questions that I had, and a few questions I've heard other people ask, which I've not actually heard answers for yet. So we're going to go through the Yaesu user manual, which I have up on the screen up here just off camera. So I'm going to put the screen capture on there so you can see what I'm looking at. And we're going to go through and answer some of these questions. So the first thing, a few people have asked about crossband repeat, which thinking back to the 8800, 8900, I'm pretty sure it does not. So if we look at page 2 here, so it talks about simultaneous reception of two bands. Now, it's a little bit vague, and it says you can't do two HF VFOs at the same time. Now, the way I take that is I think you can only receive whilst transmitting, if that makes sense. So I don't think you can transmit and receive on the separate VFO at the same time. I think it probably shuts it off. And that was my understanding listening to the Yaesu rep in his live stream as well. Again, they just skirted around it. It was a little bit vague, but I don't think you can transmit and receive at the same time, and I'm almost certain that it hasn't got crossband repeat. So that's some might say that's a little bit of a letdown for the MCOM crowd, but most people, to be honest, will not be using that. 4 meters, people have asked about that. Yes, it has. If you go to page 80, it's in amongst the specifications here. It's just this one line here, between 70 and 70.5, which is the UK amateur band. So if you've got a UK version of this radio, then it will transmit on 4 meters. I can't speak for other regions elsewhere in the world. It probably depends on your band plan. A few people have asked about 60 meters. Not too sure on that. It's a bit vague. It does say 1.8 to 450 megahertz on the transmit range. If you go to page 63, it does say in there about the Alaska emergency frequency, which is in within the 60 meter band. So if I find that page, so for those of you in America and region, is it region 1 over there or region 2? I always get mixed up. You've got the Alaska emergency frequency, which is in the 60 meter band. So whether or not that is opened up for amateurs over here in Europe who have access to spot frequencies on 60 meters, I'm not 100% sure, but my guess is it probably will let you if your region allows it. That's probably a software thing, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I will be getting one of these radios. I've already got already paid the deposit and been told it will be delivered by the end of the month, so we will have a look. USB. So on page 7, let's go all the way up to the top. It does have a USB-C, so well done Yaesu for keeping up with the times. ICOM kind of missed the boat on that on the 705 in my view. So you've actually got 2 possible USB connections. So there's one on the radio itself and one on the battery for charging the battery. So you can either charge the battery separately using a USB-C, or you can charge the battery whilst it's connected to the radio. Or, of course, you can charge it off of 13.8 volts as well. So there is that option there. So well done, Yaesu, for that. The 3D display, a couple of people I've spoken to have asked if that can be turned off. Again, back to page 2. It talks about this 3D SS, which is their 3D spectrum stream, they call it. That's the 3D display. It does say in addition to the conventional waterfall display, and there is a thing in the menus that talks about swapping it over to the waterfall display. So yes, you can get rid of the stupid 3D display, which everyone I've spoken to seems to hate. I mean, Yaesu seems to be really pushing this. I've turned it off on my FTX-101 here, and on my previous FTX-10 as well, I turned it off. I personally can't stand it, but Yaesu seemed to keep pushing it, and I don't know, there must be someone who likes it. It does have a voice keyer for CQ calls. It'll also record your over-the-air audio. It talks about that on pages 43 and 44. I'm not going to go through this whole manual because the video will be too long, but you need an SD card for that. Just generally browsing through here, actually, from what I can tell, it seems to have a very, it's almost identical menu system to the more sort of conventional 710 and FTX-10 that we already know. So if you've already got a Yaesu, it should be fairly straight sailing just to get used to this and convert over to this radio. So the bit I want to spend a bit of time on is the connectivity and the connections on the radio. Now, Yaesu have made a big thing about being able to use this radio both in the shack and portable, which fully support. Absolutely brilliant. That's what we've been asking for years. And if I go down and look at the connections, which are on pages 14 and 15, I believe, according to my notes. So scrolling. Somewhere around here. Right, here we go. Let's start with this. So microphone connection, number 5 there. This 8-pin jack accepts input from microphone utilizing the traditional Yaesu HF transceiver pinout. So the way I read that is it should be the same as the FTX-10, the 710, and even my older Yaesu FT857, which I've got on the shelf up there, which means you should be able to use the same cables you've already got. So for me, using a dynamic mic here in the shack, with this aftermarket cable with RJ45 connection, and yes, I know the RJ45s are a bit flimsy and a lot of people hate them, but it should be backwards compatible with my older Yaesu, so I can use this cable which I bought for the 857 to plug an XLR in there and a foot switch in there, and I can either use a Heil headset or an XLR microphone. So absolutely brilliant on that, and Yaesu have pushed the point of being able to use this as a shack radio as well. Now, my feeling is the screen might be a little bit small, but it can be done. Now, they do the 100 watt Optima version, or you should be able to plug this into a linear amp, because if I find the page on the back here, so it's this port here, number 6, which is the same port you got on the back of the FTX-10. It's this Yaesu's 10-pin connector, one of these. This is a cable I bought, which it only has the phono connector on this cable, but you can get cables which are pinned out for the band data as well to change frequency on the amplifier. So if you want to use this with an external amplifier that's not the Yaesu amplifier, not the Optima version, for example, I've got my ACOM 1200S just down here, which I could run this radio into that and use the 1200 watt amplifier. Now, currently, I use that with my 101D. I put 5 watts into that amplifier. Gives me around about 350, 400 watts or so on the output. So with 5 watts from the Yaesu, like I say, I'm getting near to 400 watts. Put 10 watts in there, probably about 700 watts. So could I use this as my main shack radio? Yes, I could. There is also on the back of the unit, where is it? It's port number 5, I believe. You've got an external speaker, so you can connect an external speaker on there. If you've got proper shack speakers, which might be better than the built-in speakers. And there is a headset connection on the side, I believe, which is, there we go, number 1 there. So you can use headphones on it like I do with the 101D. And it has got a monitor function on it as well, so you can hear your transmitted audio in your headphones. So marks out of 10 for the potential of using it as a shack radio. The biggest point missing, I think, is the possibility of driving an external monitor with it. That you can't put an external monitor on this, which is a real shame. It would have been nice to see that. So because it's only a small screen on the portable head unit, it would have been nice to be able to put it up on my monitor up here. And if not from the Field head unit, then from the Optima. Unfortunately, it does not have that option. And the final thing I picked up on, which I've not heard anyone talking about yet. If I go down to the main body of the Optima, down here you have you actually have 3 antenna connections on there. So you got one up here for your VHF, UHF, and you got 2 HF antennas here. So it looks to me like you can select between the 2 antennas. It does have something in the menu that allows you to switch between the 2. Now, what I'm not sure of is if it remembers what antenna you were using on a per band basis. So for example, on my 101D here, if I'm using say antenna 1 on 40 meters, then I switch to 20 meters and I select antenna 2. When I switch back to 40 meters, it'll automatically switch back to antenna 1. And then when I switch back to 20 meters, it'll go antenna 2. I don't know if the FTX-1 will do that. We'll have to find out. It may do, it may not. I can't find anything in the manual about that. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more information on what's out there. The manual, which I've just showed you, is available online. I got it from the Martin Lynch and Sons website. There are other websites that have it on as well. So if you're wondering about the specs of this radio, or if it'll do something, you know, if there's something you want to know if it'll do before purchasing, then go and have a look on the user manual, and it should tell you. Now, APRS, we know it does APRS. There's a couple of menu settings in there, but the manual doesn't say an awful lot about it. I suspect Yaesu may release a separate manual. Sometimes the manufacturers release 2 manuals for these. They release the basic operation, then they release a more detailed APRS and digital modes manual. So I don't know if that's what Yaesu have got planned, but this manual is very, very limited on information for the APRS. So with that, hopefully that's given you a few more details that you didn't already know. I'm not sponsored. I have got one of these on order, which I've paid the full asking price for. So I'm not sponsored. I've got I've got nothing to gain from pushing this. We will get the radio on the channel when it comes out hopefully within the next couple of weeks.